Video we'll look at a few ways of factorizing quadratics. This first strategy is quite simple. All we're going to do is take out the common factor of the two terms here. And the common factor is 2x. 2x times 2x gives 4x squared, and 2x times 1 gives 2x. The second strategy is the grouping strategy. So I'm going to group the first two terms together and the second two terms together. Now, you can rearrange quadratics so that the two terms that you group are the best for this strategy. I'm going to take out a common factor of the first two terms, and that's going to be 2x. And inside the brackets, we're going to have x minus 1. And then the common factor of the second two terms is 5. And inside the brackets, we're going to have x minus 1. Now, because we have x minus 1 here and x minus 1 here, we could treat them as a common factor, and we're going to bring it out the front. So x minus 1 is being multiplied across to 2x, and then again across to 5. Here we have the difference of two squares, which is a particular form of quadratic. And we know that if you want to factorize the difference of two squares, you end up with a plus b and a minus b. So all we need to do is figure out what is a and what is b in the difference of two squares that we have here. I'm going to do that by taking the square root of both terms. So if I was to take the square root of 9x squared, I would end up with 3x. And if I was to take the square root of 16, I would end up with 4. That means in this particular scenario, 3x is A and 4 is B. This example is also a difference of two squares. It's just that the B in this case is an entire expression in brackets. So we'll have to do some simplification. Writing out the difference of two squares in factorized form, we have 5 plus 2x plus 4. Okay, because taking the square root of our first term, we get 5, and taking the square root of the second term, it will just cancel out the square sign. So we'll end up with 2x plus 4 in brackets. So then on the other side, we'll have 5 minus 2x plus 4. Two sets of brackets. Now we're going to remove the inner bracket. So 5 plus 2x plus 4. And on this side, we'll just need to make sure that the negative sign is applied to everything in the bracket. So 5 minus 2x minus 4. Now we can collect like terms. So we'll end up with 9 plus 2x and 1 minus 2x. The last strategy requires the quadratic to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. If it's not in this form, you'll need to rearrange it first before you can apply the strategy. This first example is a monic quadratic because a has the value of 1. And so that's referring to the coefficient in front of x squared, or whatever the variable is that's to the power of 2. In a monic quadratic, we need to find two numbers that can multiply to get c and add to get b. In this case, we're looking for two numbers that can multiply to get 24 and add to get minus 14. The two numbers that will work here are minus 12 and minus 2. What we're going to do is rewrite this quadratic as x squared, and I'm going to break this minus 14 up into minus 12 and minus 2. So minus 2x minus 12x plus 24. And now we can apply the grouping method. So I'm going to group the first two together and bring out the common factor, which is x. And so then inside the brackets, we'll have x minus 2. And then the common factor that we have here is 12. And so we'll have x minus 2 in the brackets, just being wary of the negative sign here. I made this a minus 12, which means to make this a positive 24, we'll need a negative inside the brackets. But this is ideal because we want the two sets of brackets to have the same thing. And that will allow us to do the same strategy we used before, bring x minus 2 out the front, and it's being multiplied across to x and minus 12. That's the factorized form of this quadratic. In the second instance, we have non-monic quadratics, and that's where a is something that is not 1. And in this case, we need two numbers that can multiply to get AC and add to get B. So AC is going to be 2 times 4. So we need two numbers that can multiply to get 8 and add to get B, which in this case is 9. So the numbers here are going to be 8 and 1. So same strategy as above. I'm going to write 2x squared and then split this 9x up into 8 and 1. So plus 1x plus 8x plus 4. It doesn't matter which order you put these in, by the way. It should work out the same. And I'm going to group the terms together. So bringing out the common factor here, we have x outside of 2x plus 1. And here I'm going to pull out 4 outside of 2x plus 1. And finally, that leaves us with 2x plus 1, x plus 4.